Today I'm going over my Letterboxd Wrapped and my Apple Music replay from 2025 because I enjoyed a lot of movies and music throughout the year. I would have loved to have this out a couple weeks earlier, actually at the beginning of the year instead of already mid-January, but I've been sick for the past few weeks and I'm finally sounding good to be behind the camera again. So here we are, let's just jump right into it. So I watched 440 movies in 2025, which is definitely a lot of movies. I just really enjoyed my movies this year. And it's actually crazy because this is 11 less than 2024, but it's not a competition, so, you know, it's all good. Right here, we have my top 20 movies, which if you've missed my last YouTube video, I actually went over these more in depth. And yeah, I just love 2025 for movies. There was just so many just great stuff to watch this year. And yeah, I'm just happy to, see it right here. Of course, One Battle After Another, that is my movie of the year. So seeing it right there, it's gonna be cool to see. So I love my stats. I love being able to look over all these things. I really just nerd out to it. So it's interesting to see right here. This is my little how many movies I watched every week little chart we got going. So I was starting off the year watching like a movie a day or so, and then springtime I started watching a little bit more. Summertime I got pretty busy. I just was barely watching movies. Yeah, like got a couple one movies in there. And then October through December, this is when I really just was enjoying a lot. On one hand, I was watching a lot of movies that were coming out from the year that were either Oscar anticipated, the nominations haven't came out yet, but those movies that I knew were gonna be recognized at these award shows. But at the same time, in October and December, I do a little fun little activity, I guess you could say, for myself. So in October, I did my fourth 31 Days of Thai October, where I watched 31 horror or Halloween related movies for the first time. And then in December, I do 25 Days of Thai Oxmas, where I watch 25 different Christmas or holiday related movies throughout the month. So with all those combined, the movies just stacked up, but I was enjoying my time. So around 36.7 a month and 8 per week. Right here, we got the movies broken down by day of the week, and Mondays were actually my top, with Thursday and Friday being my least. That's kind of interesting. Now moving on to my milestones. These are always really fun for me because I do actually try to watch something a little bit special on these times. So I did start off the year with Sunset Boulevard, which was a very cool, solid little movie to watch. I know this is one of those classics, and that was a good way to start off. Then Lady Snowblood for number 50 on February 20th. Definitely some Kill Bill influence you can definitely see in here. Good time with that. Coach Carter for 100. What a movie this was. I was very happy with this one. I love basketball. Samuel L. Jackson, one of my favorite actors, so this was just a great watch for sure. Now 150 with the Maltese Falcon, I don't remember loving it all that, but it was still something to watch. It was still a good time, I will say. Then 200 was Superman, but from 1978 with Christopher Reeve, and this was like a day or two after I had seen the 2025 version. So this was cool. It's another one that's just been on my watch list for so long, so it was just really enjoyable. Now we have Misery for 250, and there's definitely a big jump right here. This is during that little dead time, but yeah, Misery, great movie as well. I was so happy to finally watch this one, and it was cool watching it in October. It's not a horror movie, but definitely kind of a thriller. You got some intense stuff going on there, so good stuff there. Sweet Smell of Success, very fun movie for me. Once again, as I was saying, these are some great movies overall. This was great, noir action. I definitely, go into it blind, why not? Then 350 was Rental Family. I think that's the only 2025 release we have here. Yeah, and this one was kind of underrated to me. Saw it in theaters with my parents. Nice old time. Brendan Fraser, great performance. And this was cool, for 350. And then Preacher's Wife for a holiday movie. And this was a wholesome time. Denzel Washington, Whitney Houston, good work right there. And then I ended off the year with Blast of Silence, which, just simple noir-esque movie. It was cool. I didn't love it, but it was just something that it was just fun to watch. I came across it randomly that day. I was like, you know what? Let's end off the year with this one. It's rare I ever rewatch a movie. If I do, it's always just something to have on the background. But whenever I do and am actively watching it, for me to actually log it again on Letterboxd, same thing. It has to be maybe I saw it in a different setting, from the theater to at home, or I saw it with different people, or even if my rating changes on it, but it's just rare I ever log it. But right here, we do have No Other Choice, which is my second favorite movie of the year. Just once again, another masterpiece. But yeah, that's my most watched movie because I just rarely rewatch stuff. Now right here is always interesting, seeing the genres, countries, and languages, because I definitely tap into some other international movies, but this year I just didn't as much in comparison. We have some Japanese and French at 17 and 14, but then it just kind of, just goes down to the single digits. Once again, most come from the US. And then for genres, we have comedy being my first one with 215 films, which I'm not even surprised by. It always tends to be my top genre. I do watch a lot of, dramas, thrillers. Like, I love all these genres. I will literally watch anything. But it just happens to be comedies that I just watch more of, I guess. Actually, hold on, let's see right here. So those are most watched, but highest rated? Interesting. So history, okay. What's even in there? Okay. So it's like movies that aren't necessarily like documentaries, but it's like kind of based on, like, it's like loosely based off of real events. So that's kind of interesting. And then Iran, okay, I am half Persian. Let's go ahead and yeah, I love my Persian movies. I only watched 4, but all of those are bangers. I would recommend any of those. Definitely though, if you're gonna watch any of these from Kiarostami, definitely watch Where's the Friend's House first though. Great movie though. And then Korean being my highest rated, which once again makes sense. I saw a lot of great Korean movies, and yeah, I would recommend any of these too. Definitely some great movies right here. Now I have like the subgenres, same thing, crude humor and satire. I always love my parody movies. Gags, jokes, and slapstick humor, once again. Okay, we got some horror, jokes, moving relationship stories, horror. Yeah, I got a little bit of everything. Same right here. Yeah, comedy, humor, slapstick, gag, joke. Yeah, I like funny movies. What can I say? As I said, I did prioritize a lot of 2025 releases, and you can see that right here with 19%. Yeah, I did watch 84 of my 440 that were movies that came out from the year. Everything else, I do love my older movies too. I will never not watch an old movie as well. So right here, as I said, I rarely rewatch anything. I have 3 right here. No other choice being one of them. The other 2 aren't coming to my mind right now, but I don't even think it doesn't even let me click on that. And then reviewed, I always just drop a review on something because I like to use Letterboxd as like my diary. So being able to just kind of put a few words down, that's just what I want to be able to like remember the movies that I watch. So right there. Then here's always an interesting thing. I watched a lot of bad movies. I watched a lot of movies for this like Rotten Tomatoes challenge thing I was doing on TikTok, which I actually stopped after watching 40 movies that I reached my breaking point. So it is skewed a little bit right there. Let's see, actually, I'm curious on the 6 5 stars. LA Confidential, great movie. Yes, One Bad After Another. It's Mad World. No Other Choice. Reflection, Dead Diamond. Yeah, these make sense for my 5 stars. But yeah, I'm always gonna have a lot of 4 and 4.5s. It has to be perfect for me. I don't know. These 4.5s are like, once again, just amazing movies as well. These are just nearly perfect. There might be like 1 or 2 little nitpicks about it, but a 5-star to me, like, I just know it's a 5 stars as I'm watching it. Who Framed Roger Rabbit? Great pull right there too. I finally watched that this year and I love that one. Any other stuff? I already mentioned Where's the Friend's House. Some of these other ones I already mentioned. An American Werewolf in London, another really cool one. What's Cooking? This was a Thanksgiving movie, which I didn't even really think that they had, but watch this on Thanksgiving. Oh, What Fun, a movie that, we'll probably get to that soon, because I know a lot of people didn't care for it, but I loved it. Now, for the cast, Keanu Reeves being my top watched actor with 7 films, edging out, how many people? 8 people right there? Okay. Then Kristen Stewart, Josh Brolin, Robert Pattinson, Bill Murray, Paul Rudd, Octavia Spencer, Samuel L. Jackson, Pedro Pascal, and Matthew Lillard. Okay. Let's keep on going. Got some more people. Shout out to all these actors and actresses who are here. Good stuff. Actually, let's see, just because he is my top, let's see what movies I did watch from Keanu Reeves. Why not? And we even watched throughout the year too. February, March, April, October, November, December. All types of, older movies, newer movies too. So that's really cool to see. Shout out to Keanu Reeves. And then highest rated, I'm curious too. Lee Young-no. I may have butchered that name, so sorry. Oh, she's in some great movies. Shout out to her. Now for directors, I did go on a little Miyazaki kick during the time. I am gonna watch, these were all pretty much back to back right here. And I have seen a good amount of his movies, but there were some that I just never got around to seeing. And I was like, you know what? I want to be able to say that I've seen every Miyazaki movie. So I now can say that. And yeah, just great work from him. Studio Ghibli, just legendary stuff right there. And then Jacques Tati, same thing with him. I went on a big little spree with him. I watched Playtime and I love this movie. I think this is another one of my favorite first watches of the year. And I just think this is just phenomenal. A little comedy action, kind of some like slapstick action. There's not really any dialogue, so you just kind of go in there and just have fun with it. And then I was like, you know what? I want to watch the rest of his movies too, because he didn't have a lot that he's really done. So there's that. Richard Linklater. I'm just going to go over my top 3. I know I didn't do this with my actors, but yeah, watch some good stuff. Blue Moon and Nouvelle Vague, both some great movies from the year as well. Highest rated, Paul Thomas Anderson I think it was literally just like one battle after another that I saw. Yeah, I didn't really watch much from him. I think all these are literally just like one and dones. Yeah. Well, shout out to those directors. I'm not gonna go really in depth with these cast members, but shout out to anybody who is here and studios. Wow, I watched a lot of Paramount movies. That's interesting. One battle after another be my most liked review is really cool to see. You know, as I said, this is my favorite movie of the year. And my most liked list was my 25 Days of Optimus, which I mentioned a little bit earlier. Now my highs and lows. This is actually kind of funny that it shows high and low right there. That's kind of funny. Come on, you gotta drop a laugh or something. But yeah, I just really love this one. The highest average movie, okay. Lowest average, yep. This movie was not good. Most popular movie I watched, and the most obscure, King's Ransom. This was for my little Rotten Tomatoes thing, as I was saying. Yeah, 34 of the 100. How many people have seen this one? 1.2K. Okay. Interesting. Newest movie I'd seen came out on December 2nd. Oldest was from 1920. This was the Cabinet. Yep, Cabinet of Dr. Caligari. The longest movie is Gone with the Wind, and the shortest movie was A Muppet Family Christmas. Good stuff there. Now, rated higher than average. Yeah, this movie I loved, but people didn't seem to. Same with this one. I loved it, but I guess it was just average to people. Clear History. This one was just a fun little Larry David action. That Thanksgiving movie right here, it's Mad Mad World. I love this one too. One of my favorite first watches of the year. And highest to lowest, I did not know the average was that low. Dang, I just really enjoyed that one. Now rated lower than average. These are movies that I didn't think were all that people think are cool. But what is this one? Phantom of the Paradise. It was okay. Paths of Glory was okay. Passion of Joan of Arc, didn't really connect with it. Same with Portrait of a Lady on Fire. I'm sorry. Gone with the Wind. No big deal. And Flow, I did not know that it. Yeah, I mean, it was okay. I'm sorry. it was just something. And then here are all the movies I watched. So very cool to see. But yeah, just great to see. And the map, I did see a little bit from all over, but definitely some spots I didn't even visit at all. But it's okay because this year I'm watching a lot more international. Like that's something I know I'm already like I've already done so far in January. And I just want to continue watching movies from all around the world because, I mean, I've seen so much from the US already. Highly rated films you've yet to see. Yep. I'll get to those soon eventually. And the highly rated with my friends. Okay. Very cool. Shout out to the friends. But yeah, that's going to end off the Letterboxd portion. Now let's jump into the music. This part's definitely going to be a lot shorter than the Letterboxd part just because I know there's a lot less stats that I have and movies are definitely going to be my focus. But, you know, I do enjoy my tunes in the background. I could play them in a little highlight reel, but I believe it's in like a phone kind of look. I don't really, you know, let's save you guys from watching that. Let's just jump right into it. So my top artist, I listened to 925 different artists throughout the year, with The Alchemist being the first, which once again, just like the comedy genre for movies, The Alchemist is on so many different projects and collaborates with so many different artists that I really enjoy, where it just makes sense he's gonna be number one. He has that little edge up right there. And Tyler, the Creator, is my favorite artist, I would say, so makes sense he's at 2. Men I Trust, another top group right there. Kaytranada, he's been killing it recently. Let's keep it going. Rochelle Jordan, my album of the year, Through the Wall. Freddie Gibbs, he dropped some stuff. Mike, super great. Kendrick, okay, still sneaking in there. Larry June. Daniel Caesar, one of my favorite albums of the year too, came from him. Lou Phelps, I know this is actually Kaytranada's brother who dropped his debut project, which was really great. Pusha T, and then it's gonna show Malice right there for Clips. Right there too, great work with their album, another favorite. And then we rounded out with Don Toliver, my 15th most listened to artist. Now for my top songs, okay, Men I Trust coming up with the number 1 and 2. I love this album from them. Listen to 2,782 total songs. But yeah, I would definitely listen to any of these right here. Gold Feet, great one from Alfredo 2. Root of All Evil. You know, I haven't really dabbled into Daniel Caesar all that over these years, but something about this album just really stuck out to me, especially that song. You got Clips, as I said, Hanging on a String, a little throwback right there. The Weeknd album, which I think the song's only here because he always tends to drop in January. So then if there's a song, like he just has more time to listen to it throughout the year. Sending My Love, another little throwback. Driftin', another throwback. Mike, okay, great stuff from Showbiz. POV, another Clips little song right there. Ensalada, my second favorite from that. Don't Worry Babe, I Got You Babe, my favorite song from the Kaytranada album. Sugar on My Tongue, classic from the new Tyler. And Bite the Bait, which I'm actually surprised it's that one from the album from Rochelle Jordan. But as I said, the whole album, that was just my favorite. And it is going to go into right here. It is going to be my number 3, only because I guess shorter. I guess I just had this one on loop. But Don't Tap the Glass is gonna be my #1 most listened to album. I listened to 382 throughout the year, and yeah, we got that. Sweetback, I believe this is the group that was behind Sade's music. So I gave this a listen, and this one was just one I just tend to throw in the background a lot. It was a lot of great work right there. As I said, Through the Wall, this is my personal favorite album of the year. I think this is just great dance action, just good, just a good old time. You know, I can't really say much about it except it's just so good. A lot of great production, great work from her. And then Alfredo 2, nice little follow-up. Daniel Caesar album, Kitranada, Salimata, which came out like very last few weeks of December, but I had this on loop as well. JAD album was pretty good midway through. Clips, as I said, definitely a top one. Life is Beautiful, the Lou Phelps one, as I mentioned. The Men I Trust, that's crazy. That is crazy that it's the 12th album, but I have the top songs from them. You know what I mean? That's crazy. But yeah, great work. As I said, I'm a big Men I Trust fan. The Mac Miller album that was finally released on the streaming services in January was great to see. Music from Playboi Carti had its time when it came out, but I really didn't keep continuing with it. And then Showbiz from Mike. I know what comes up here is whenever I'm listening to the album as an album, rather than I think the songs individually, like in playlists. And I usually listen to my music in playlists, but I love listening to albums front to back. But usually I end up just kind of curating my own little times, like if I'm like driving or chilling at my desk or whatever it is. And then top genres, hip hop, then pop, R&B and soul, alternative, electronic. This actually perfectly represents like what I listen to, yeah. And then lastly, we have my milestones. So I listened to 25,000 minutes of music on July 24th, my 500th artist on June 19th, and I reached 2,500 songs I listened to on November 6th. Let's see all, okay. Oh, that's just like throughout the time. These are just like the top ones then. Okay, that makes sense. And it just dawned on me, you know, I didn't really go in depth about my top albums of the year. Like not necessarily what I listened to the most, but the ones that were the ones that I enjoyed the most, you know? So I'm gonna just put that on the screen right now. These are my top 10, great music. Definitely check out any of these. If you didn't listen to any albums from the year, you know, you're trying to see what came out that was pretty good, check these out. But yeah, that's gonna conclude my little recap of what I enjoyed from the year in terms of movies and music. This video was more of just something for me to kind of put out there. If you just like to kind of chill and listen to stats and stuff like this, and then I hope you enjoyed it. But this probably was kind of boring to some other people, so if it was, then sorry about that. Actually, if it was boring, you probably aren't even watching this anymore. You probably already clicked off a long time ago. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. Hopefully I make a lot of cool videos this year. If not, then I'm sorry. But if I do, then stay tuned. But yeah, just enjoy what you enjoy this year in 2026. You know, if it's movies, if it's music, you know, there's something out there for everyone. So enjoy what you come across, and thanks for watching.